Hey everybody, Charlie 92 here, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. When we last left off, well, we were a little bit stuck. We couldn't quite figure out what to do. So, I'm going to tell you what I did. I looked up a hint. Because I didn't want to keep going back and forth with no progress. I think the last half of the last episode, we couldn't figure out what to do. And I don't know if I would have figured this out on my own, so I'm actually quite glad that I looked up the hint. So, let's show you what it was. I didn't look up anything else. I didn't spoil anything for myself other than what to do at this very moment in time. So what we need to do is need to change look, or we need to, actually, no, we need to stay right here. We need to present the pawnbroker's ticket with the box. And it makes sense because we want to say, hey, we didn't find this box that's supposed to be at this scene when we give this to Gregson. I think I presented this one or something else, and I don't think I ever would have came back to present this. So I'm glad I looked it up. Let's go ahead and present it and see what happens. Inspector, what do you make of this? Ah, what do we have here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to hand. Yes, this is a ticket for McGilded's overcoat. The one with the little diver turned up with yesterday. That little diver. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me, do you? No, I didn't mean to, Runo's right, Gregsy. It isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't. Of course it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So, what's all this about then, if I might be so bold as to ask? This is a second ticket. A second one? Seems that Mr. McGilded, in fact, had another article in storage here at Windybanks. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, good, because he's ever so easy to talk to. The second redemption ticket. All right, we've made progress. I think this is it. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilded's overcoat. Eh? You mean to tell me? Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems. I'm sorry, my mouse is here. Let me move that out of the way. Cursor, not necessarily the mouse. Mouse controls the cursor. Words mean things. I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly. Yeah, but you didn't. Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilded deposited another article here with Mr. Windybank. Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it? Do you have any idea where it is, Gregsy? Any idea at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. It could be an important clue. Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please, stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes, all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barking. Look how angrily he's eating those fish and chips. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. It's enough sauce from you, Sunshine. Ooh. There's one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption's deadline's already passed, hasn't it? Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be in here then. That's right, it's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop, where the forfeited items are offered for sale. That's where we were looking, which is why I didn't expect we had to present this ticket to prove this to Gregson to come to the conclusion. Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once. You're wasting your time. Oh? There are dozens of little boxes out there, hundreds even. We can't possibly know which one might have been McGilded's. That information's not written in the ledger. Ugh. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case. Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. This is getting old. It is indeed. Let's go look out here and see if we can find this box. Dong. Dong. And a third dong. Ugh. Nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Windybank set such a wicked trap? I doubt he set it out to scare anyone. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Oh? Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. Got them both mad at me. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we had better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. Can we not search for the box? I'm gonna do one more cursory glance. What's here? Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered for sale. That's right. They've all got little price labels on them, but there are so many. I wonder if the small box this ticket was for is still on the shelves somewhere. The box that McGilded deposited here just over 2 months ago. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes, it could be any one of them. Mr. Sholmes said that a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything, more secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps this small box of Mr. McGilded's contains something of very great value. Well, if that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked. So then we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Hi-ya! That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. I won't let that happen. Ah, this takes me back. It's been some time since Susato-san last threw me. I think he's beginning to like it. Okay, so not any one of those boxes. It looks like everything else has been looked at. Let's move over. Here is some boxes with locks, but it won't let us look at those. Yeah. I think we may be done here for now. As much as I want to find this box, I don't think we're going to. And there's no way to trace it back to the ticket anyway. That's the other problem. Okay, let's go see Ginny. Let's move. Where's the... There we go. Prison. April 16th, 5:41 p.m. Local prison cell 13. She's still not here. Oh, there she is. Ah, Gina. Good. You're back. Ah! The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Jenny? Was it awful? Eh? Oh, didn't bother me. Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windybank's. All right. Don't you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying, that I did it. That's not. Gina, we came to ask you for your final decision. Eh? What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. I guess we're going to converse. What we've uncovered. Oh, all right then. Blimey. Give it a rest with them eyes, Iris. So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't yet managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being in there in the first place. I think I know why you broke into Windy Banks that night. Looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason. And thrust it in Gina's face. Or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. Alright, well, let's present it, and then we'll go back to representation in court. So present. Pawnbroker's ticket. For the box, pawnbroker's ticket. Gina's representation papers. Blood samples. Yes, the manuscript. Let's present that. We found this in Mr. Windybank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story. Ah. Oh, right. Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windybank showed no sign of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception. The box file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing this manuscript last night? Eh? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of the Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Ugh! Why don't you tell us what happened, please? Ah, we got it. All right, representation in court. We already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk. That is, if you'll allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Jenny, rip them up and chuck them, would you? Them representation papers or whatever they're called. This cell ain't fancy enough to have a bin. So, what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on me own. I don't think so. I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. Iris's manuscript. Ellipses. Alright, yeah, this Baskerville story. It's the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's going to be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. Wow! What? So you intend to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No. Jenny, how could you? What? Wait, no, hang on. Of course I weren't going to sell it. All I wanted to do was find out if the mantle script, or what you call it, really was there or not. It's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? Ah. We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Jenny. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you said the night before. Grown-ups do a lot worse than that, believe me. Barefaced liars, the lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't at Windy Banks. You'd soon see if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley's telling me the truth sometimes. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere. Somewhere I don't know. Even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Jenny, that was so sweet of you. All right, all right. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. Reason for breaking in. It weren't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest? If he'd really deposited the manuscript at Windybanks? It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be harder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway. Last night when I was listening to what you were saying, stories about Daddy? You mean they're not the adventures of a great detective? So much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner. Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Jenny. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look, give it a rest, will you? I hate all this chummy nonsense. Do you hear? I hate it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Because if you don't trust no one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on. Scarper? Scarper. Lots of dots. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of that overcoat. Yeah, there's, blood? Or some very suspicious red stains. What? What are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in the area to Gina now. Ooh, we can test the blood. Alright, so what are we going to present? We're going to present the blood samples? Yeah, let's do that. Present. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. What? But blood, Mr. Naruhodo? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So could it be blood that spattered from Mr. Windybank when he was shot last night? Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Jenny. I'm going to shoot. Alright, what's the color? Purple. Purple. We've seen purple. Oh. It's quite a bit of it, too. It's all over that coat. Don't we know that purple is thrice-fired masons? Oh, my. Oh, should we do, oh. Oh, my. Is that good? Did I do good? Did I do it good, George Takei? Tell me if I did. What the? Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Yes, now let's see. Who had the purple blood? Ah, yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 months ago. I knew it. What? What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Boy, would somebody explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story. We're gonna converse some more now? Yeah, the truth of the omnibus case. We can see now that the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGilded's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet. No, if that's what really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGilded's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. Murder? I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, was Magnus McGilded. Mr. Naruhodo, that horrible case is solved at last. And I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Bruno, did you believe him, though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent? I believed. Or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? A lawyer's weapon. Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama? Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie. Which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That's all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their case, or their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly. Hehe. What's funny, Gina? Or, sounds like in this empire of Japan you come from, everyone must be soft. Well, come on. Look at the mess it's got you into, believing in that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learnt your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. As soon as you let down your guard, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one, get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rope them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants and all now. Mr. I'm a believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can't believe in me after all that? Not likely. Oh, you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, a lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. Yeah, I trust her. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Eh? Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously? Mr. Narrow Otto? Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar. Fibs just trip off my tongue. And I'm a diver, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you into all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you chose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there's more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. Eh? It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. What do you expect me to say to that? Oh, she's crying. Then it's decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now after it's been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern lot are I don't know what you are. I don't get you. Okay, looks like we've got a client. Gina's taking herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out all right in the end, I think. Dots. And even more dots. Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once. Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Let me guess, Sholmes? Miss Usato? Somebody is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Somebody who wasn't there before. What? Blimey. You're sharp, eh? Oh, it's Gregson. I suppose you were using one of those mystic Japanese arts, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy! Oh dear me, I'm most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long you've been listening in on our conversation? Good grief, listening in? No. Just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, only just arrived, this very minute, not a moment earlier. That's all it is, nothing untowards, nothing at all. After hours? Is it that late already? So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, toodle-doo, cheerio, all the best, bye-bye, and bye. It's a lot of farewells, and not even one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will, well... Emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing. Forget I said anything. Anyway, I'm off. Alright, Gregsy. If you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted, charmed, can't wait. If you please, my pleasure. He had tea. That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. Gregsy's so funny, he says such silly things. Certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend the court clerk's office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Miss Susato. She leaves tomorrow, right? Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. And then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. 16th April, 11:13 p.m., Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. And that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy my content, please consider a like, a comment, and or a subscribe. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you then. Bye-bye.